All right, what is going on, guys? Happy Sunday. Welcome to the show. I'm Ace. Today we are deep diving the insane Epstein files that dropped 2 nights ago. Holy smokes, guys. I don't know about you guys, but this one is wild. So we have a lot to talk about. And I got to tell you right now, there's a whole lot of lefties going crazy that they finally got Trump. The media is all over this. We're getting all kinds of crazy reports. So I have to break it down for you guys today because is it over for Donald Trump in these files? I got to say, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy what we're looking at. But should I spoil the ending? I don't know. We're going to get into it because it's not what it seems, rarely is, and these files are bad, real bad for a lot of people, and it's just not going to go the way everybody is expecting it to. So I'm going to help you break it down before we get started. This is going to be the entire live today is Epstein files, because there's so much. So I hope you guys are ready for this because it's important. It's really important to break this down because this is the biggest story of the weekend and is going to carry a lot going forward that we need to know. So we're going to get started. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. Please share this with anybody who is freaking out about what's happening this week. And anybody who's just got really bad information, they're going to understand a whole lot more after watching this video. So share it, repost if you're on X, hit that like, hit that subscribe. And if you really love what you see today, you can support the channel by going in the description, clicking that Patreon link. I got a free gift for you when you click it. All righty, let's get going, guys. Let me say hey to you in the chat, and we are going to start. Alan Agajanian, numero uno today. What's up, buddy? Al's Fordham, happy Sunday. The one, what to do? Always here, buddy. What's up, man? Lex Waters, Joel Dawes. Been a while, my friend. Good to see you. Shogun, did I build a Trump snowman? We did get, I think it's the fourth most inches of snow ever recorded in a day in the area I live in North Carolina, over a foot. So we had a lot of fun playing with the kids the last couple of days. Toe cramp, getting out of the live, baby. Yep. Football next week. We'll see. You know, I'm not even sure I'm going to watch the Super Bowl this year. It's not something I'm excited about. Jeremy Bodle, what's going on? David, what's up, man? Yeah, well, one of the reasons you haven't heard much from the mainstream yet is it's the weekend. Wait till the week starts. Forbidden Plans is Tom Hanks so butthurt over the release of files leaving America for where they do Greek. Oh, yeah, I mean, they've been there for a while. So Max Vogan, real nice guy in the chat over there. real sweet guy. Okay, are you guys ready to get going? Because this is wild. So what is the big, shocking, taking over Twitter right now, at least on the lefty side of things? Well, it's this. In the files, there is an allegation tip line that is printed. This is where people could call in tips about what happened about Epstein, victims of this whole conspiracy crap. And there's an accusation that is major. It is of Trump. And here's the document right here. There's stuff about Trump raping I'm sorry, it's going to get a little graphic today. So you might not want the kids to watch this one. There's some graphic stuff in these Epstein files. So I apologize in advance. I'm warning you right now. This one's not for the kids. Raping a 13-year-old and doing other terrible, terrible things. So that is all over. And look, you just type in Trump 13 into search on X, and it is every lefty account sharing this. It says right here, friend told Alexis she was approximately 13, 14 years old. This occurred. The friend allegedly bit President Trump while performing oral sex. Friend was hit in the face after laugh biting Trump. Said also abused by Epstein. Complaint, reported victim and witness to sex trafficking. Sorry, there's my stupid mouse acting up. Sex trafficking at the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verdes, California, between 95 and 96. Complaint reported Ghislaine Maxwell as the madam and broker for sex parties, which include Epstein and Trump. And like I said, it is all over. This is just going crazy. They are sharing it left and right. Several senators, House representatives are sharing this. It's gross. It's really gross stuff. And but here's what they're not telling you. And here's the flip, which is how the left operates. These are complaints that don't hold up. And there's a reason they weren't pursued. These complaints surfaced around 2016, allegedly about 15 years after they allegedly happened. And there was so little to them that no one pursued them, including the Biden and Obama Justice Departments. One thing that's a problem, the golf course supposedly running the sex trafficking operation, it didn't even exist until 8 years after the complaint. So they didn't even do their research when these people trying to ruin Trump's presidency in 2016 made these allegations. And I don't expect lefties to do research because they just never do. They hear the stories they want to hear and they jump on them. And they have no ability to critical think. They have no ability to be honest. It's only they're completely blinded by Trump hatred. And even something this easy to debunk, they are running with it. And some of them, in fact, a huge portion of them, they love it. They think they got him. They're like, oh my God, he's in the chart. Think about it. These are the same people who say Trump's an authoritarian who is Hitler, would actually allow these files to be released while he's president. It's his DOJ that released them. But again, they're incapable of critical thinking. Well, the Biden administration, why wouldn't you go after them? They did everything else to stop Trump. Oh, because they're not true. Oh, the Obama administration that created Russia hoax to stop Trump from winning the 2016 election, wouldn't they have used this? Oh, no, because they're not true. It takes 5 seconds. See, an FBI investigator, even one working for Obama, looks at this and is like, let me see a couple of things. Let me fact check a couple dates. And then something like this comes up and they immediately say, oh, this is a false allegation. We can't do anything with it. So we're going to create a Russia hoax instead. A lot harder to debunk that. Yeah, because this stuff has been debunked for a very long time. Oh, and here's the other problem with these files, with all these allegations that are coming out now. Yeah, they were debunked a long time ago. We're talking 8 years, 10 years ago, friends. This is not new. These allegations have been around since 2016. They circled around. They went to court. And as soon as they got to court, the drug addict woman accusing them admitted she made it all up before it went to discovery. Why? Because she didn't want to go to jail for lying. Yeah, it was a Trump deranged person put up by probably the Democratic Party or somebody like Epstein to try to assassinate Trump's character before the 2016 election. And as you can see right here, this is from the Daily Mail. Headline story came out the day of the election of 2016. Yeah, they already debunked it back then. Whoops. Now, it's funny to me that the Daily Mail waited till the actual day of the election to debunk it, but whatever. They don't exactly like Trump over there. So they probably held this story as long as they could and then published it that day. Didn't matter. He still won anyways, but they tried to push this out there, already done. So this is not new. All this stuff running around against Trump, it's not new. It's been debunked. And Trump himself knows this is why he felt fine letting it out there. And he knew people could do their research. And that and by the way, he keeps suing all these media companies when they lie about him. So they know that every time they report this now, they have to add the disclaimer. These were already debunked. They always put it at the end though. The headline reads, Trump accused of assaulting a 13-year-old in the Epstein files. And that's what you'll see. You'll see the headline, but in the copy, when you read it, at the bottom, they always post, none of these allegations have been proven, blah, blah, blah. Some of them were, the woman herself admitted these weren't true. They'll always put it at the bottom to cover themselves legally. But they want to get that part out there. And people on the left will be like, why isn't Trump going to jail? Why is nobody going after him? Oh, it's because they have nothing. They have nothing. And then they'll say, oh, it's because he's an authoritarian dictator. He won't allow it to happen. Yeah, but moron. He let the story out in the first place. So, guys, it's not over for Trump in the way you think it is. What's over is the fact that the Democrats are never getting what they want from the Epstein files. The Epstein conspiracy against Trump is over. And these files prove it. And we're going to get into it because, oh man, it's going to get saucy. These Epstein files are so much worse for Democrats than they ever have even gotten close to being for Trump. It is wild, and wait till you see this as we get into it. But first, got more on the Trump stuff. Check this out. Epstein was colluding. Well, here's an email right here. Colluding with Michael Wolff to obtain compromising Trump information. So Epstein admitted they don't have. Michael Wolff hates Trump, written several books trying to out Trump. A lot of it just gets debunked as soon as it comes out. He was trying to get information from Epstein to ruin Trump's career. And Epstein himself, here's the email from Epstein to Michael Wolff. Epstein himself, when asked about all this, he never got a massage. Yeah, they don't have anything on him ever. Even Epstein telling the guys, we don't have anything. What do you want? What do you want from me? He never did anything. We can't use anything against him. Yeah, Epstein was colluding with Democrats, colluding with deep staters to try to end Trump and couldn't provide anything. This is the guy, left is going around saying him and Trump are best buddies. Okay? They're the best friends. Oh man, Trump's a pedophile. He's in on this, man. It's disgusting. Except Epstein himself says, I got nothing. You want me to stop Trump, guys? I don't got anything. He never did anything with me. I'm sorry. He just didn't do it. You know? Yeah, he knew about some of the girls, which, by the way, when he says that, it's after Trump had already kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. Why? Because he knew about the girls. He ended his relationship with Epstein, is on record in 2009 being the only person who helped with the prosecution against Epstein. That's records, my friend. Go look it up. I've already shared it 100 times on my channel. I'm not going to go back through it again. I got too much else to cover today. But on record being the only person to help bust Epstein in 2009 in Florida, when he got put on house arrest, got given the Obama DOJ gave him a easy off deal. Okay. And, we're getting to that, Vince. Don't worry. Give him the easy off deal. And then under Trump's watch in 2019, they finally got him. But it wasn't because Trump was trying to cover his butt. They were already trying to get him in 2016, going to Epstein being like, what do you have for him? Here's Michael Wolff. Now, this is what's should be even more concerning to you guys, though. What am I trying? I've been trying to teach you guys for months now, actually for years, for the last 2 years. I've been trying to teach you, you cannot trust 90% of influencers, maybe even 95% of them. You can't trust them. And I'm sorry, but I used to be a big War Room fan, but I got to say the further I get away from it, the more I study what's going on, the more Trump's into his second administration, I've been having my doubts. And it's because of the way they freak out or the way they kind of steer narratives about what Trump's doing. And this is bad for Bannon, Steve Bannon, who I've been starting to have more and more doubts about. This is very concerning. So Steve Bannon was one of the sources who worked with Wolff, the guy who just tried to get Epstein to give him the goods on Trump, to have it, to stop him. Steve Bannon worked with Wolff on the book Fire and Fury, and apparently was the main reason Trump fired him. Now, I can't corroborate that, but it does make sense if you think about it. Bannon was in the first Trump administration, got let go, and has never been invited back since. Here it is right here. Michael Wolff busted coaching Epstein on ways to hurt Trump in 2016, but it didn't work. And here's some of his stories. Michael Wolff, Fire and Fury, Siege, All or Nothing, always trying to take down Trump, working with Bannon. So it's not Trump going down, guys. It's a lot of the people who have made their career because of Trump and around him. And I got to tell you, we've all known the Democrats hate Trump. They're trying to take him out. That's a no-brainer. The dark secret that most people aren't ready for, especially on the right and in MAGA, is that MAGA itself has got a ton of bad actors always trying to infiltrate and steer us in the direction they actually want Trump to go. And this is why I honestly fully believe that in all of this, there is a hierarchy of trust, a tier of trust. And the number one person you have to trust is Trump. And I know that politically, as Americans, we don't want to trust our politicians. We don't want to trust our leader, even if we vote for them. We want to trust the person we listen to for 3 to 5 hours a day. We want to trust Rush Limbaugh, who was great, by the way. I'm not talking down on Rush. We want to trust Bannon. We want to trust PBD podcast, Timcast, whatever it is, wherever we get our news, Fox News for some people, God forbid CNN. But that's what you want to trust because you listen to them more. You hear their stuff more. You maybe got a relationship with them through years and years of hearing their stories and their breakdown on stuff. And they may have been right on several things, like Alex Jones. But then all of a sudden, stuff gets weird. And you have Alex Jones like doing the whole, well, Marjorie Taylor Greene left. I don't know if I can trust Trump anymore. I have to go pray to God about it. And then a week later, he's like the most pro-Trump guy again ever. Why? Because it's one or two things for most of these guys. It's either keep our ratings up because they're making good money, keep those ratings up, or they're actually controlled opposition trying to end Trump from the other side. And because the bad guys, man, they're smart. They're smart. They're not all powerful, but they're very smart. And they have plants everywhere, especially in all media. They've controlled the media algorithms, even online, for a very long time, since the beginning. They know who to push, who not to push. And sometimes a good one breaks through. Don't get me wrong. They're not all bad. But this is the kind of stuff that's very concerning. And just because of this, I'm not saying if you love War Room, if you love Steve Bannon, you got to stop. Because I will say that 90% of stuff on War Room is excellent. And a lot of the people he has on are excellent. It is. But what matters is that 5 to 10% of the time he disagrees with Trump, that he's critical. The question is he doing it because he's a true believer, or is he doing it because he's actually trying to undermine Trump's people against Trump and create dissension and doubt? That's the question. And I'm not telling you I have an answer. I'm not. Steve Bannon is very iffy for me, but there's enough questionable stuff. It could also be Bannon's just a risk taker and he likes to fly a little too close to the sun sometimes. And he'll even hang out with the enemies to pick off stuff, to get information, to try to steer. It could be that. Bannon is the kind of guy who I could actually see that. But I will say that even if that's the truth, we have to be careful. And so be extra careful when you're hearing stuff from Steve Bannon. And many of the people Bannon has on they've been outed by different people. And I'm not saying I believe it, but I am saying it makes me do a double take. Jack Posobiec's one of them. Rich Barris. Rich Barris has been gone nonstop hardcore against Trump lately. It's saying everything he's doing is wrong and not MAGA. Do I believe it? No, I disagree with Rich. Do I believe Rich is bad? Not necessarily, but I believe it's possible. And so this is something we got to watch out for. And that also the files are starting to show. There's all kinds of stuff with Bannon and Epstein that's weird. Bannon's interview with Epstein, his emails with Epstein, they're very strange. And like I said, it could be explained by Bannon just flying too close to the sun, trying to buddy up to him to get information. That's possible. But it's also possible that Bannon is actually a bad agent. And I will say it's very strange that Trump hasn't, for somebody who seems to be such a good asset, that Bannon has nothing to do with Trump's administrations. That part is kind of strange. But again, I don't know the exact answer on that, but watch carefully. Here's something that's interesting that it's more and more has been coming out about Reid Hoffman in these files, Reid Hoffman, Bill Gates. And again, this is just more proof that Epstein was dealing with the people who hate Trump and was not close to Trump or had the goods on him.
Like known Epstein clients who are obviously extremely powerful politically and very wealthy are, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, and Reid Hoffman, and some others too, but those three. So, why was Reid Hoffman so intent on destroying Trump?
You think it's because they're worried about the list coming out?
Yeah.
It's so frustrating to be sitting in a situation where the list isn't coming out.
Well, it better come out, hopefully tomorrow.
Why'd they release bullshit today?
I don't know.
What's the point in giving these people like a happy folder to wave around in front of the camera with nothing in it that's new?
You know what's funny? Looking back on that folder release and everything, it's funny to me that it keeps we keep getting this rollout. And I'll tell you right now, if anybody thinks that this Friday release was like something the Trump administration didn't want to do or is out of his control, because a lot of people are saying that. Oh my God, Trump never wanted this to come out, blah, blah, blah. No. It's his DOJ, bro. He perfectly timed it. And I don't quite understand the timing, except for we just had all that Minnesota stuff go down and started to hurt. It was hurting the Trump administration in some ways with moderates because of all the anti-ICE stuff going up. And then after all that happens, and then Trump at the end of the month drops his new Fed chair, which is an amazing pick. We'll probably talk about that more tomorrow. Another area where Rich Barris is extremely wrong. But he releases a new Fed pick, and gold and silver are tanking, one of the craziest market days we've had in a while, and then they drop these Epstein files. Now, the reason I believe they dropped on Friday night is not so they got ignored, because there's no way to ignore the Epstein files. It's because I think they knew that the initial blast would be everybody looking for Trump stuff. And so they release it. Everybody goes for that Trump stuff. You get this whole litany of leftists freaking out. Trump raped a 13-year-old. Oh, we do it. Blah, blah, blah. All that comes out. But it's over the weekend where the media, not as many people are paying attention. It gives time for the smart people actually doing the research who understand this stuff to look into it, find everything they need to find to explain it. And then come Monday, all the answers are there. And that's when the media cycle really picks up again. So it's smart, but it also just changed the narrative again, because we're not there yet, guys. I'm getting to it. Don't worry. There's a whole lot more we're going to get to. That's shocking stuff. But this shocking stuff is actually what's going to be carrying the day. Vince says, Peter Navarro is still in the Trump administration. He's on ban all the time. Yep, he did. He went to jail for it. And so did Bannon by going against Congress. Navarro is obviously trustworthy. Trump loves him. So I have nothing bad to say about Navarro. Here's Reid Hoffman, as was just dropped. Reid Hoffman, by the way, is the founder and creator of LinkedIn. Yeah. I bet that makes you feel better about doing your business stuff on LinkedIn, right? Epstein Hoffman emails. Lots to do after the Trump win. Epstein called LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman his friend, who donated over $100 million to Democrats in notes. On November 5th, 2016, days before the election, Hoffman emailed Epstein stressing the critical importance of Hillary winning. Oh, really? Yeah. Hoffman was conspiring with Epstein to try to figure out how to stop Trump from winning. Yeah. Does that sound like somebody who's a big Trump fan? Epstein working with these guys? No, he's working with the worst of the worst lefties. And I'm not saying, there are definitely some names in here who are associated more with the right. Peter Thiel, for one. But it's way more on the left-wing Democratic side and celebrity side, which they're all lefties. Makes you think, wonder why they hated Trump so much. Why do they hate Trump with so much vitriol? Why is it so much crazier against Trump than everybody else? Oh, yeah. It's not just that he's a Republican. It's not just that he wants to change things economically. No, he's changing their entire world order, which is a big part of that is a disgusting club of rapists, pedophiles, and money launderers and power brokers, to name a few things. And again, just wait till you see where we're going here. There was a bank collapse on Friday, David. I didn't see that. I'll have to research into that. Here we go. Oh, here's Trump in 2012. Why would the pervert be calling out the other perverts way before he was president, way before he was politically getting anything from this? Got to do something about these missing children grabbed by the perverts. Too many incidents. Fast child death penalty. Funny that a guy who's supposed to be one of them, according to the left, is calling us out so many years ahead of time. I don't know. I find that funny, but maybe you don't. Trump posted this video, this Jesse Waters, explaining Epstein was connected to Israel and hated Trump because Trump reported Epstein to the authorities. Epstein colluded with Dems to hurt Trump. Now they're trying to frame Trump for Epstein. This is why he calls it a hoax. We won't play this whole clip because it's over 6 minutes, but I am going to play a little bit of it. Here we go.
Trump. Even Axios says the emails contained no real smoking gun. The files do show Epstein's deep ties to liberals, like anti-Trump author Michael Wolff. He colluded with Epstein on how to blackmail Trump. Wolff told Epstein in 2015, if you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. Why is Wolff giving a pedophile PR advice and coaching him to take down the president? That wasn't the only writer Epstein colluded with. A New York Times reporter gave Epstein a heads up that a former cop was investigating him for a book. That reporter was pushed out of the company after they found he asked Epstein for a $30,000 donation. Larry Summers, who worked for Bill Clinton and Obama, was also pen pals with Epstein. He was asking him for tips on women. Who goes to Jeffrey Epstein for dating advice? Epstein didn't just have ties to the Democrats and the media. He had foreign connections. Before Trump met Putin in 2018, Epstein was pitching himself to the Kremlin, saying he could give Russia insight on Trump, which is weird because if the Kremlin was controlling Trump like the Democrats accused him, why did they need insight? He wasn't just any old rich American. He was well connected to top players all over the world, from Israel to Saudi Arabia. And it wasn't a secret. Epstein went to Clinton's White House 17 times. And Slick Willie was a frequent flyer on the so-called Lolita Express.
Yep.
Clinton and Epstein seemed like pals. But when it comes to Trump, Jeffrey had TDS. I have met some very bad people.
So a lot of this is from the previous Epstein drop, but you get the point. You get the point. It continues. Everything we get more on Epstein is how much Epstein hated Trump, how Trump was the only person trying to stop him, how Epstein was trying to stop Trump from becoming president, and how he had nothing to give the people who most wanted to stop Trump. Pretty crazy stuff, isn't it? Pretty crazy. And honestly, it just keeps blowing up in the face of the left. Here's the other thing that just came out. And this was shared by people like Smooth Brain, Libertarian, Dave Smith, and several others who have been trying to catch Trump on the Israel thing because Trump controlled by Israel. Except they share the stuff completely out of context. Here is the claim. Trump's been compromised by Israel and Kushner's the real brains behind his organization and presidency. The headline, but the documents say this. This comes from a confidential human source, single informant, providing uncorroborated information to FBI in Los Angeles. This is their own interpretation of real estate transaction involving Indonesian billionaire Henry, good luck with that name, Tanodo Gobujo. I'm not even going to try. In related details, the CHS frames the deal as evidence of Israeli leverage or control over Trump. So the deal They just interpreted it as that. But people are running around saying, oh, Trump is controlled by Israel. Again, it's so stupid when you actually look into it. Sorry if there's any groypers in here, but the groypers love this one. They just want it to be true so bad. So Nikki Fuentes can be true. By the way, Nikki Fuentes fed. And I've said it 100 times, and I'm never going to stop saying it. Anyways, here is what's juicy. They recall Dershowitz told U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, by the way, he's the one who gave Epstein his sweetheart deal where he just got to be on house arrest. Epstein belonged to both U.S. and allied intelligence services. Why? He was money laundering and blackmailing. Shares recollections of phone calls between Dershowitz and Epstein's, after which Mossad would then call Dershowitz to debrief. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Again, if Israel controlled Trump, why would their guys that they control be so hardcore trying to stop Trump? I mean, it doesn't take a lot of critical thinking to figure this stuff out. It doesn't take a whole lot of logic, but then again, nobody on the left or in the libertarians is capable of doing critical thinking, as we show time and time again. These are the most ignorant, stupid, or corrupt people. Pick one of the three, because there's only three answers. The left and the libertarians are the stupidest or ignorant or most ignorant or most corrupt people who report on any of this stuff. And that's the only choice, because the more you dig into the facts, none of their claims ever hold up. CHS became convinced Epstein was co-opted Mossad agent based on these interactions and questions. So anyways, more files. We don't have time to read all of it, but I give you the breakdown. Now, you want to see what, looks like I just lost my connection to X. Wonder they didn't like this stream. That's never happened before. Well, we'll see if it keeps up. Here's Trump yesterday after the Epstein files were released. You guys tell me, whoops, I screwed that up there. You guys tell me if this man seems worried.
Mr. President, what did you think of the latest release of Epstein files, and do you think your critics will be satisfied with?
Well, they should be, because it looked like this guy Wolf, who's a writer, was conspiring with Epstein to do harm to me. And I didn't see it myself, but I was told by some very important people that not only does it absolve me, it's the opposite of what people were hoping, the radical left. That Wolf, who's a third-rate writer, was conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to hurt me, politically or otherwise. And that came through loud and clear. So we'll probably sue Wolf on that. And maybe the Epstein estate, I guess. I don't know. But we're going to certainly sue them.
You want to sue the Epstein estate?
Well, you may. I guess so, because he was conspiring with Wolf to do harm to me politically. That's not a friend.
Mr. President,
He's absolutely right. I'm sorry. He doesn't seem too worried, does he? I would say not. I would say that's a man who actually seems pretty excited about these Epstein files being dropped. So if that's the case, well, I mean, how do you reconcile that? I don't understand how people on the left can reconcile this unless it just doesn't, it never lines up with their narrative, because according to them, Trump is authoritarian. He is stupid. He is corrupt. He is a pedophile. And yet none of these things add up when you put them together. Well, if he's authoritarian, these files would never have come out. If he's a pedophile, he never would have let the world figure it out. Oh, but he's so smart. He's playing it. Well, I thought he was stupid. You can't have it both ways. It's like none of it adds up. There's too much. And Trump delights in this. He delights in it because he's always having them chase their tails around. No, Trump this, Trump this. He just keeps doing it. And it drives them nuts because they can never catch up. So right now they're going to enjoy this huge media cycle where they're going to throw this crap out there. Their people will eat it up and believe it because, they're smooth brains. They don't do any of their own research. They're going to eat it up, and nobody's going to. I've already had people I know people I love, people close to me, ask me, oh my God, is it true about Trump and Epstein? I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. That's how well they're communicating this stuff. Now it all died down. But again, as soon as people settle down and actually think, none of it ever holds up. Shogun asks, it seems like CIA is behind all this. I mean, CIA's got part of it, but the CIA is no longer the CIA. Now, the old CIA, I agree with you. But Trump owns the CIA now. And the Venezuela operation proved it. Remember when Trump was sitting there with Ratcliffe, who's the head of the CIA, watching them take over Venezuela, which is where the CIA ran all their drug operations for the last few years in the Western Hemisphere, last decades? Yeah. Sitting with the CIA director, watching them end the CIA's hold over that country. That tells you, and there's a reason they did that picture and showed you, because they were communicating. CIA is no longer what it was. Guess who is behind all this, though? Who keeps pushing this, and every time we get something is asking for more, saying not enough's coming out. Oh, we got Thomas Massey. He's still all over it, but there's a problem. Stuff more keeps coming out about Thomas Massey. Oh, he got money from the Gates family. Biggest voice calling for it. Here's the receipts from Rory Gates. Money, money, money. And it goes, there's more than that when you go more after another, but including millions of dollars he's been getting from some of the Israelis he claims he has nothing to do with. It's not AIPAC. No, he's smarter than that, but he got over $1 million from several of these. But Massey's all behind it. Why would you accept money from Bill Gates' kid, especially when Bill Gates is in the files again all over the place? Here's a bombshell dropped in the files, this file about Bill Gates. And now we're going to be moving on into the rest of the files now after the Trump stuff. And guys, it's going to get crazy and a little dark. So I'm preparing you. If you guys can't handle dark stuff, and if you got kids watching, don't let them watch this next part of the video, because I'm going to start showing what's in the rest of these files that just dropped this weekend. It's disgusting. It's disgusting and horrific. And I'm not going to go into even the worst stuff because it's not fun and it's not for YouTube, but or Rumble or anywhere. It's shouldn't be shared. Honestly, you can find it on your own time, but I don't want to be the one reporting it. But it's that regardless. There's some gross stuff coming up. But here's one of the big things that came up in this weekend's drop. Epstein emails allege Bill Gates caught STD from Russian girls, hookers, and begged Epstein for secret antibiotics to dose Melinda without her knowing. Fast forward, Melinda divorced him in 2021, citing Epstein ties. Yeah. Here it is right here. To add insult to the injury, you then implore me to please delete the emails regarding your your STD. Your request that I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to Melinda in the description of your penis. Ew. You also made it clear to me that I am not to refer to redacted, as another topic must remain between the two of us. And this is Epstein to Epstein regarding Bill Gates. So it looks like this is a letter that Epstein wrote to Bill before sending it to him. So, but you see here, I can't believe you've chosen to disregard friendship developed over the last 6 years. This is in 2013. So anyways, crazy stuff, guys. But Bill Gates looking worse than ever in all of this. And that's the guy who Thomas Massey's happy to take money from. Cindy Lou's asking, bringing up the allegation against Bush. There is a horrific allegation against George Bush Sr. in these files that I will not be sharing today. It's just too gross. I will say this. It is an allegation. And as dark as it is and as believable as it may be, there is no other evidence to corroborate it, and it comes from other stuff. So it's not something I'm going to be sharing as true because it's not direct enough. It's not like something Epstein shared. So So that's the kind of stuff you got to be careful at. It's easy to chase. It's easy to believe all of it. But this stuff is, because this is a data dump. This is not, here's what we have on Epstein that's true. The Trump stuff is a good example of this. This is all, they released everything. So you have to be careful how you parse it. And the Bush thing, one of the reasons I'm not going to share it is because it's just, there's just not enough there to prove that it's true. Even though it is horrific. And if you want to go looking for it, just go to X and type in George Bush Epstein. You'll find it, and then you'll probably have to go wash your eyes out afterwards, and it's horrific. But I'm not going there. Okay, let's get into the rest of this stuff because that is so insanely crazy. I'm going to tell you guys right now, there is something, I'm not going to talk about too much by name because this is the kind of stuff that YouTube flags, but these files basically prove that Pizzagate is real. Now, I've never doubted it. I've seen the evidence. I've seen some very dark things that make it very, to me, obvious. But I will say there hasn't been enough out there for a lot of good people to recognize the validity of it. And so, and there's been some other things that have happened that just kind of ruined the whole story for many people. These files really make that hard to now deny that it was a real thing. So let's look at it. Epstein seemed concerned about Assange releasing the DNC and Podesta emails in 2016 via WikiLeaks, and them leading to the arrest of Hillary Clinton. I think many of you remember this, the 30,000 emails, Hillary Clinton, WikiLeaks. Yep. It really, Podesta is disgusting and the worst of the worst. And Breitbart, Andrew Breitbart's the one who called out Podesta 2013, 2014 as a pedophile, and then within weeks was dead. So Breitbart started it. The WikiLeaks stuff continued it, and they've tried to bury it since then. Epstein suggests a plot where really bad fake emails are released and they get out of the media, and Epstein writes what a trick could be played. This is a classic Mossad deep state controlled opposition tactic. Distribute fake evidence or false information to muddy the water so the truth is lost and comes off less credible. By the way, this is why you have to be very careful with conspiracy theories, because a lot of them, they will go in to Reddit, they will go into 4chan, they will go into X, they will go into Facebook, and they will start fake conspiracies. And these fake conspiracies will get a bunch of people believing them. And then what it'll do is those people believe the fake conspiracies as well as the true ones. And what happens is because they believe the fake ones, it debunks all of it. And it's how they muddy the waters. This is why I don't believe in Nassara Gassara. I think that's a fake one. I don't believe, even though it's very closely tied to a lot of stuff I believe. I don't believe in flat earth. Same thing. Sorry, Vince. I love you. But I don't believe in it. I don't go there. I think these are the kind of things muddied in water, like muddy the waters to get us off the scent of what's real. And so this is what happened for Pizzagate. And as he says here, there's the exact tactic they used for 10 years to try and convince you Pizzagate was fake. Here's the email that he just described. Speaking of it, going back to this conspiracy, it's not a conspiracy. It's real. Anyways, John Podesta was Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, White House chief of staff under Clinton, and a counselor to Obama. His brother Tony is a major DC lobbyist who collected this artwork. Let me correct this real quick. Tony Podesta is the largest Democrat lobbyist. At least he was for a while. The biggest one. The Podestas were the kingmakers in the Democratic Party. So he undershoots how important they truly were. And these are the art that Tony and John had hanging in their homes. You can see it's horrific stuff. I'm not going to keep it up for very long because YouTube. And here is a clip from model Gabriel Rico Jimenez after attending a elite party and disappeared shortly after this. This is what she had to say.
¡Comieron humanos! ¡Asquerosidad! ¡Comieron humanos! Yo no estaba enterada de nada. Que había, o sea, de los asesinatos sí, pero que habían comido humanos. ¡Humanos! ¡Comieron humanos!
Resurfacing as all these files come out. Liz Crokin shares, for everyone outraged by the email sent to Jeffrey Epstein stating, "I love the torture video. Where were you in 2016 when Tony Podesta's email to John Podesta stating you still in torture chamber after a fun night last night?" Podesta to John Podesta. Last night was fun. Still in the torture chamber. Well, here's the video she's talking about. DOJ files, the new Biden Epstein files. Drop a screen. Maybe that was a prophetic drop. The Biden files. DOJ files. Drop a screenshot labeled "torture" with Epstein on video call. A leaked image shows Epstein on what looks like an old multi-person Skype call with two redacted participants, a blonde woman on one side, a man on the other. On top of that call, there's a BlackBerry message from a saved contact labeled "torture" saying, "I'm waiting and watching the melted cheese drip." Cheese pizza, CP, code for child pornography. Yeah, pizza is what they use for this stuff. And here is on the Skype call, watching the cheese drip, the torture video, of which the DOJ was very clear. They're not releasing any of the worst videos that depict victim stuff, and good for them, because that's absolutely disgusting and nobody should want to watch it. But crazy stuff. Here's Epstein and a man casually emailing one each other about pizza and grape soda. You see Harry Fitch to Epstein. Here's the email. I forgot about that. What time do you want to get pizza and grape soda tomorrow? Let's go for pizza and grape soda again. No one can understand. Go no. Weird. Just weird. Who talks like that? You know, I might tell a friend like, "Hey, you want to go grab pizza?" I would never say, "Let's get pizza and grape soda." How strange is that? I mean, we're talking, these are supposed to be grown men. So crazy stuff. But again, just shows you the verbiage they keep using. Epstein files. Jeffrey wants to go out to a pizza place with you. He did not mention a particular pizza place, but he knows you're in the know on this. Another communication shows sending Epstein a photo of a young woman saying, "My grief counselor," and follows up with, "Super Jew, call me when awake." Communications between actor comedian Bobby Slayton and presumably Epstein. Slayton has said publicly they're only acquaintances, not close friends. These are just a few of countless communications, 2,400 between acquaintances and pizza. It's mentioned quite a lot if you type in Bobby Slayton in the search. So there's Bobby Slayton right there. And here's his references to pizza in these emails. Pretty crazy stuff. Cindy Lou asked, "Didn't Obama brag about having a pizza party at the White House?" I don't. There were a lot of emails of Clinton saying pizza parties. I don't know if Obama got caught with a pizza party email. I can't remember him specifically, but he did have a party, which another code word for this is hot dogs and ice cream. Those are two of the other code words they use, especially differentiating between boys and girls and stuff like that. And Obama threw a party at the White House where they spent this is in one of his emails, $67,000 on hot dogs and ice cream. I don't care who you are. That's a crap ton of hot dogs and ice cream. You could feed probably 1,000 people with that, maybe 10,000 people with that. And there's no way a party at the White House is that big. So I'm sorry, you just don't spend that much money on hot dogs and ice cream. There's a lot of talk about Elon in the files, but Elon's been one of the ones pushing the files the most. And so just to let him off the hook, exonerate him, it is clarified he never went to the island. So he's been one of the most outspoken elites by that, but in the files you find out that he was at one point scheduled to go. He never ended up going. And because he's been pushing this so hard, I do believe that Elon's most likely innocent. I just don't think he'd be able to not be. And he is, unlike Reid Hoffman, unlike Bill Gates, unlike several other elites, billionaires that are all in these circles who hate Trump and have been fighting him, Elon's the opposite. So just reasons why I don't think Elon's in there. Now, this is one of the craziest stories. I'm only going to share the beginning because it just gets crazier and crazier. But this poor girl, there's a journal in these files of a girl, school-age girl that so Epstein, one of the things about Epstein that's been coming out without much detail is that he was trying to procreate and have a lot of people bear his children, get them out in the world, and for various reasons. And one of them might be satanic ritual abuse. I don't want to get into it because that's a road that I just don't want to talk about. But you get this crazy little diary from this girl. Help me, please, can't anyone find me? Barely survived all these procedures. My heart is gone. You get to the next post where she says, pressure on a placenta. Things would have to be different. She said, I have to be brave and strong, listen to her direction so I get the baby out. Terrified seeing so much blood on the floor. I felt she was dying. She caught a beautiful baby. She let me hold her and wash her. Smelled so good, but only after 15 minutes. Mr. M came in to take her. I was hysterical, begging for more time. He said those horrible girls in the car were waiting. I couldn't let go. The old woman promised she would keep me safe. I had to let go. 4 pounds, 10 ounces, 18 and a half inches long. I'm dead inside. Life has no meaning. I don't want to be here. And there are more just describing her anguish and having her baby taken away from her immediately after it was born. Just terrible, horrible stuff in these files. And it just details how disgusting the whole Epstein stuff is and how these elites are. You have pictures like this of Epstein person in a cage, one of his victims in a cage. They have blocked her out, but you can see legs, clearly a woman's slender legs, clearly bars. Epstein, how far he reached in his control over people. Well, immediately after the financial collapse, by the way, this is from his interview with Steve Bannon. Epstein casually says during the financial collapse, he was making calls from his jail cell to people at the Treasury. How does anybody get to call the Treasury Department from jail? That's crazy stuff. See, as dark and sinister as the stuff these guys are into, Epstein was not the one making those things happen as much. He was a part of it, and he got people into it for various reasons. Some of it reward, some of it blackmail. But where Epstein really wielded control was over finance. He laundered money for people. He made sure people got the money they needed to, whether it was run for office, get more control over stuff, you name it. But this was how he controlled people. And this tells you he had a direct connection to the White House and to many of our government's most important areas. During the Clinton White House, which he visited 17 to 19 times. It's verified 17. Some people specify up to 19. And the Bush administration, which is when the financial crisis happened and he was calling, the Obama administration, he was close friends with one of Obama's lawyers. He was close, had connections with Podesta and obviously the Clintons. So lots of crazy stuff. Yes, Cassink says reporting Mamdani's mother was involved with Epstein. Yes, there is in these files, Mira Nair, the director, and Mamdani's mother was at Epstein parties. And in these files, there is now a rumor going around that maybe Epstein is Mamdani's father. I highly doubt that. I think it's probably just a rumor, but you never know. These things are crazy. And he slept with many, many people. And it was well known that Epstein was trying to basically keep his life going by siring many children. Kash Patel earlier this year got an email, someone claiming to be an Epstein victim, saying Jean-Luc Brunel was the biggest distributor of Eastern European girls sold to sex trafficking to work in the escorting industry in the UK. Demanded investigations into Rupert Murdoch, which is very interesting. He controls Fox News, New York Post, Wall Street Journal. Rupert Murdoch is one of the largest media moguls who's ever lived and controls most of what's known as conservative media. So that should make you a little sick right there. We've long known about Ehud Barak. I don't know who David Boies is, but crazy stuff. But along with this, we have many emails of him saying, Epstein writing, that there is opportunity in Ukraine. This was written in 2014 when the Obama administration helped foster the color revolution in Ukraine that got Zelensky into power and made Ukraine the most corrupt nation on earth, as cited in the 2017-2019 by the New York Times, and is also why Ukraine became the hub of human trafficking and money laundering for the West, and maybe the biolabs as well. So that happened. You just see how he's wielding all this power. UK was Luke Brunel, who got busted, but, and then Murdoch, but it's closely associated with the sex trafficking. So this was to Kash Patel in 2025, which means I have a feeling this is all being investigated and looked at. Now, I see a lot of people writing stuff like, why is nobody being gone after in this stuff? And I got to tell you, there's a couple answers you're not going to like. But unfortunately, they're reality. One of the answers to that is that some of this stuff just won't have the evidence that they can put together. It has the evidence enough to destroy a career, but not enough to destroy and put somebody away to prison. That's number one. Number two, several of these victims have already made civil complaints, and in those complaints where they received millions of dollars, in fact, JP Morgan Chase paid out $500 million to these victims, these Epstein victims, several years ago. And in doing so, they agreed to no longer press charges. So they were bought off. And so that's another reason why they don't have the people to press the charges. And the final reason is many of these crimes are outside the statute of limitations, which is just a fact of our law. Now, it doesn't mean everybody, there's not certain people who can be prosecuted. There's not ways around some of that, but I'm just telling you guys the facts that much of this stuff happened 20 plus years ago. And because of that, there's just going to be reasons why they're not going to be able to use it for anything, but it can still be used to end careers. Okay. And so that's very important to recognize. As Moody writes, Trump was right. This disclosure will hurt a lot of innocent people, which is one of the reasons I believe Trump was saying the stuff he said. When he said Epstein was a hoax, I don't believe he ever meant the entirety of the Epstein stuff. I think what he meant was the way this will be used because of the allegations that aren't true. Because there are several allegations that simply aren't true. But it's tied up with so much crazy stuff that is true. It all feels true when you first see it. And so that's what's important in all of this. Cindy Lou writes, Mom Donnie's mother's last boyfriend was an Epstein. They had a child, Epstein, a baby on the beach. Interesting. Maybe Epstein's brother. I don't know. I'm going to see what more comes out with that. Okay. Because there's just a lot there. But what should be taken from this is he had tight connections with major media moguls, a former Israeli prime minister, and also a lot of connections to pushing stuff in Europe, which ties to the UK, ties to Ukraine, so on and so forth. Okay, let's keep going. Epstein would talk about personal favors. Epstein said he could use highly priced personal favors to help an accused friend, describing it like a resource he could tap when needed. This just is more proof of the of his blackmail abilities and how tight he was with everybody, which we all knew, but it's important to show that it's true. We have stuff like this. Jay-Z, even though there's not crazy supporting evidence, there is stuff coming out about Jay-Z, which I believe is easy. We all know he's involved, Illuminati stuff, crazy things. There's a crazy story about Eminem. And again, I don't have time to go through every one of these, but there's a lot of celebrity stuff coming out. So there was a story with Tom Hanks, so on and so forth. So again, trust but verify. A lot of the stuff that's going to come out, it's very interesting, but it just might not have much there. And it depends. Like if it's Jeffrey Epstein writing to somebody in an email about something, it's probably true. If it's an allegation, well, then we need to do a little more extra research. So it does depend what file you're seeing. So just be careful as you go into this stuff. One thing is Rachel Chandler is all in these Epstein files, all over them. And if you guys know who Rachel Chandler is, Jordan Sather here talks about her in the Q post, which is very true, but she's also all over all the research done into Pizzagate. Rachel Chandler was somebody who was a photographer, quote unquote, who would get models to travel with her, do stuff with her, build their trust, and then would get them into sex trafficking. And there's more like crazy stories about that. She is now in these files, proving a lot of what the Pizzagate people, the Q Post people, were all saying all along. And so, again, it's just more and more corroborating evidence that a lot of the conspiracy stuff involving ritual abuse, pedophilia, cannibalism, torture, human trafficking, it's just true. It's just flat out true. We've had too much of it now. We don't know which details are true, but we know enough to know that it is absolutely real. And it's been going on for a long time. And to also remember that this is one of the main reasons Trump got in. It just is. To end this is why he calls them sick people. He says that over and over again. And so you just got to understand, like, Trump knows, and this is why they hate him. Why they hate him and he hates them. And they will stop at nothing to stop him. And this is a big one right here. Even Ketanji Brown Jackson has a connection here. File release resurfaced the fact that Ketanji Brown Jackson was the federal district judge who sentenced the man who claimed children were being trafficked in Comet Pizza in Washington, D.C. by the most powerful people in the world, which is Pizzagate, to prison in 2017. Then Joe Biden rewarded her by making her a Supreme Court justice. Crazy stuff. This stuff is insane. So listen, there is so much more. I basically probably didn't even cover half of what's come out from these latest files. I just was trying to show you guys some of the most important stuff, and by showing you some of the names. But the main thing I want you guys to get from these files that have just come out, it's what we've already known about the corrupt elites, and especially in the Democratic Party and in the media and in entertainment. Okay, what you've believed about those people is true, and not everybody, but a lot of them, and so that's important. Number two, Trump is absolved in these files way more than there's anything iffy about him. Everything iffy comes from one allegation written, and then there's several other things that absolve him. So that's important to know, that these files are far more favorable to Trump than not. And finally, the Pizzagate stuff is just, we don't have the smoking bullet yet, but I can tell you that it is, the corroborating and circumstantial evidence is overwhelming at this point. And so I would think that it was almost impossible for it not to be true and real. So that's what's come out. These were huge. These files were massive. And everybody who knows and actually pays attention is going to walk away saying, oh my God, like, wow. And apparently there's one more drop coming. We don't know when, we don't know how much, but there's going to be one more drop coming eventually. And I believe it's going to be interesting. I don't know how far it'll go. So what do we need to learn from this going forward and expect? Well, number one, again, like I said, I don't think we'll see a lot of stuff from a legal standpoint. And I gave you all the reasons why. It's not because they don't want to. It's because in many circumstances, their hands are already tied. That's just how the legal system works. So guard yourselves on that. But number two is that this can all be used in other ways. It can be used to ruin an entire party, the Democratic Party. It can be used to ruin careers of politicians and powerful people. And so that might be the wins we get. This is out there now. It's going to be hard to foresee how this is used, but we have a lot of good stuff here. The next thing is we need to be skeptical. Not just of some stuff that comes out of the files the way it comes out, but also of people that have associations that we might like, whether it's Steve Bannon, or others. We need to be skeptical and just and hold their feet to the fire and say, you guys really need to prove to us that you're who you say you are. We really need to know. We need this stuff addressed. So Moody asks, are they saving the worst for last? I don't know. It's a wonderful question. The truth is this could be the worst. Or they could be saving the worst for last. They could be saving just a couple things that are keys that tie stuff together at the end. I don't know. But I will tell you that I truly believe this was timed by Trump and his team. I think they did this on purpose. They know what they're doing. This is not like somebody's just trying to get stuff out there to hurt Trump. The Thomas Massie side of things is very interesting to watch. Thomas Massie is now demanding that certain files come out that I can't remember the exact way they're labeled, but he names it in his tweet. And he's calling for the files that he calls for are well known as cheap allegation files that have nothing to back them up, but he's calling for them. Ask yourself why. Why does Thomas Massie just want the allegations all released? Well, because he knows what will happen. There will be stuff in there that looks terrible, but was never corroborated, might even be completely debunked, but it still will have the cycle where it'll look bad for some powerful people, and some of it might be Trump. And Thomas Massie's all behind that. Him, and just look who he's teamed up with. Ro Khanna is like a crazy socialist. You could call him maybe a communist. Crazy, crazy lefty. He's one of the ones who just pushed the wealth tax in California that caused almost $1 trillion of billionaires to leave, which is a ton of tax money for that state. He just proposed that and caused that issue. So he's a true believer in far left ideals, and that's who Thomas Massie's working with. So these are the things we want to take away from this. Cindy Lou says, the Wiener laptop. Yeah, I don't know how much we'll get from that, but maybe eventually it'll happen. So, Wiener's wife worked for Hillary. Not just that, Cindy Lou. Huma Abedin, you're right. That's who worked for Hillary, was her number one assistant for years. She's actually now married to Alex Soros, George Soros' son. So Huma Abedin is bad news. And yes, that was Anthony Weiner's wife. So there's a lot of disgusting kind of craziness in all of this, of how they're all inbred in a way with each other. But anyways, guys, hope you learned something. Hope this helped. You guys understand what's going on. There's going to be more coming out. I'm sure it was 3 million files dropped. So there's stuff that has not come out yet. So we're going to keep seeing that. I will report as I find it. And if there's anything worth reporting on. Everything else that happened this weekend, like the Fed chair, stuff like that, we could talk about that tomorrow. So I'll be back on tomorrow's show, cover what's going on. But until then, guys, I hope you have a wonderful Sunday night. Thanks for watching. You guys are the best. Again, please like, subscribe. If you want to support the show, you can hit the Patreon link, get a free month, and see if you want to stick around after that. Get some extra content there. So, but God bless you guys. Let's end in a prayer and then go about the rest of our Sunday. So, Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God, I thank you for exposure. I thank you, and I pray that it leads to whatever justice is possible. If arrests are possible, then yes. If all it is just the destruction of careers, then we'll take what we can get. But I do thank you that these files are coming out and what they're exposing, and I do pray that everyone guilty gets exposed, and to the extent they need to be. Father, we pray for President Trump and his team for protection, God, because God knows there's a lot of people want him dead right now. Protect them, protect their families, and give them wisdom to navigate these times. We pray for justice to be done in our country and peace and prosperity to come like never before. And I just bless everybody watching in the name of Jesus. Be with them, give them wisdom, and help them, Lord, feel comfort if they need it. And just, Lord, be with them through whatever trials they may be going through. We thank you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Love you guys. God bless you. Have a great night, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.